Imagine you receive a doll as a gift, and since that day, weird things started happening, like hearing children crying and seeing objects fall for no reason. This was a typical day for one family from Florida. Dolls are creepy in general because they lack emotions. At least, that's what scientists say. If you've ever had one, you might know that feeling as if the doll is watching you. Luckily, usually nothing more happens. But this was not the case with Robert the doll. This story started in the third most haunted city in the US, Key West, Florida. There are so many haunted houses in that place that seeing ghosts is normal for the residents. I don't know if this is true, but I would not want to live there to find out. And still, all those ghosts are no match for Robert the doll. A boy named Robert Eugene Otto received a doll as a gift from his grandfather. The doll was made in Germany in 1904 by a company producing expensive and weird toys. All their dolls gave off a creepy vibe when you looked at them. The boy loved the doll, and they became inseparable. Their connection was so strong that Robert gave up his first name and gave it to the doll. Since then, the boy has been called Otto by his last name. Otto did everything with the doll. It was truly his best friend. They were playing all day together. The doll was as big as a child, so Otto gave his favorite sailor outfit to Robert. Nothing good lasts forever, and their friendship with Robert ended. Otto blamed Robert for a very bad thing that happened in the house, like glass falling, doors randomly opening, and other unusual things. But of course, the parents were not buying the story. One night, the parents heard loud screams coming from Otto's room and immediately rushed in. They saw Otto holding Robert by the neck to stop him from moving and trashing the room. On another occasion, Otto woke up and saw Robert sitting on the bed. Furniture moved, books fell, toys were ruined. The scene was like a horror movie. The parents woke up and thought they were getting robbed because of the screams and the loud noises coming from Otto's room. When they entered, they were shocked to find Otto hiding in a corner with a terrifying expression on his face and Robert the doll sitting peacefully on the bed like nothing had happened. From then on, things worsened a lot, and there was more and more paranormal activity. Otto was hypnotized by the doll and started treating it like a regular person, spending hours speaking to it. They were talking all the time. The parents became concerned because when they heard sounds coming from the room, they would enter and ask Otto who he was speaking to, and he would point to Robert. Sometimes, this crazy doll would get angry and throw things around, and when the parents entered the room, everything would calm down. It wasn't unusual for the doll to get so angry that it would start breaking toys, removing their eyes and limbs. Robert would also randomly start throwing furniture around. If you want to say that the kid did this, you should know that he was young and could not have moved and thrown around furniture like that. It would be almost impossible for a small child to do that alone. The paranormal activity spread like wildfire throughout the neighborhood. The neighbors started experiencing unusual things, but it seemed like only kids were affected by ghosts. Otto's house became the main attraction in the community, and when the boy was at school, the doll would appear in the window when kids were crossing the street in front of the house. Children would report seeing the doll for a second, and the next second, it was gone. Robert was waiting for his friend Otto to return from school. One day, they had a plumber over to fix the leak in the bathroom. There was nobody at home, and the plumber was doing his job when he suddenly heard a child laughing. The sound was coming from Otto's room. The man thought he was alone, so he went to investigate. And the big surprise was that the room was empty, and Robert was sitting on the window with some toys in his lap. The plumber left the room feeling on edge. After some time, he heard some commotion coming from the room. He rushed to see what had happened. The toys that had previously been on Robert's lap were thrown into the middle of the room. The plumber didn't know what to think of this weird situation. When Otto grew up, he moved to New York and Chicago to study art. Later on, he went on a trip to Paris, where he met a girl whom he married later. Otto didn't remember about Robert until he and his wife moved back to the US and bought their own house. Otto visited his parents to take some of his stuff back, including Robert. Taking back the doll that used to haunt you as a kid was probably not the smartest thing to do. When he returned home, Otto placed Robert in the attic and decorated the room like a kid's room. He gave Robert toys to play with. He would also visit and talk to him almost daily. Understandably, his wife wasn't happy about Otto's behavior. He seemed to spend too much time with the doll, and she was really creeped out by it. His wife told him that he must do something about it, and Otto had no choice but to lock the attic door. This move made Robert angry, so the doll, despite being locked up, would appear in other rooms in the house. Some people said that when they passed by the house, they saw the doll's glass eyes follow their movement. Others reported seeing the doll in one window, and the next second, Robert would move to another spot. But as always, Robert's favorite place was the upstairs window facing the road. He would sit there like he did years ago and wait for Otto. Robert didn't like having guests over. He terrorized anyone who would enter the house. When Otto and his wife invited guests, Robert would move furniture and throw objects around the house. This was not fun for the guests. When they tried to sleep, Robert would appear on their bed and watch them. When all this happened, Robert was still locked up, but somehow, he could teleport around the house like a ghost. You might think that once Otto was gone, Robert stopped his paranormal behavior. But you could not be more wrong. Otto passed away in 1974, and Robert's curse continued. They say Robert will appear on your bed if you don't subscribe and like this video in the next 5 seconds. Calm down, this is just a joke. But if you like this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Robert stayed in the house after Otto's passing. The house was bought by some woman who kept the doll for 20 years and had plenty of time to figure out that the doll was haunted. So, she did something that Otto had to do a long time ago. She gave the doll to a museum and warned the staff about the doll. They laughed and placed the doll on a stand, but soon they found out that the doll was indeed haunted, and they had to lock it in a glass cage. Robert is still there, and people who have visited him have reported some strange activity. Something terrible might happen if you take a photo of the doll without asking for his permission. People don't take this seriously, but later on, if their life goes wrong, they blame it on Robert. The museum workers have received a dozen apology letters asking Robert for forgiveness. If you want to see if this is real, go to the East Martello Museum in Florida.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.